Welcome to another day in the Matrix, waters above crypto. Today we're going to hand out the clear pill and give a breakdown of the master number 33, since next week is the 33rd week of the year. I have some important numbers to share with everyone in today's Gematria decode, so I'm really excited to get into that. Also, some of you might have seen the update regarding my upcoming expansion mastermind course coming out on September 1st. It will be my first non-crypto course, as there's been a lot of attention on my work outside of cryptocurrency, and over the year I've had so many people reaching out to me showing interest on releasing a structured course regarding expanding consciousness, increasing awareness, becoming more centered, strategies on fasting and holistic healing. It's pretty much all covered in this course. So yesterday I released a sample of what will be covered in that course over on my website at watersabovecrypto.com/expansion sample. It's a 20-minute video. It's very thorough, sharing all the details, so definitely check that out if you're interested, and I'll keep everyone updated as we get closer to that release in September. And after we do our Gematria decode today, we'll be getting into the charts, going over some technical analysis on the market, definitely looking at the US dollar currency index, Bitcoin, and the stock market, because it's giving us a lot of signs of how the rest of the month's going to go. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow our community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. The link to my website can be found in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below for access to the Mastermind course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So, a little bit of a recap actually from my last video that I put out, which was some days ago now. And it's always nice to be able to revisit this stuff, sharing information before dates happen, and then being able to go back and review it. So I made a video specifically talking about August 2nd, and then I also released some content regarding August 5th. And as you can see, this is the crypto total market cap chart. This is all the cryptos, including Bitcoin. And this video that I made last was released before this move down. I actually spoke about it in 2 videos ago as well. And we can see that that was the exact low pivot point on the market. So again, I haven't been calling for any crazy volatility until the end of the Shemitah, which is Rosh Hashanah, and that is late September. In the meantime, all the dates that I share, all the information that I'm sharing with the specifics of our numerology is just pivot point dates. And thus far, this has been very accurate. So looking at the pivot point of August 2nd, which was the exact low before we had a couple of days of sideways, and then the next piece of information I shared was regarding August 5th. And we could see that was a big, reversal candle. And then since we've actually been on a uptrend, and it's a confirmed uptrend on the 8th of August because we made a new high in the structure regarding the last prior high. So we're having a higher high. This is a continuation of the micro uptrend. So this is very important. That 8/8 date was something I covered very thoroughly in my last Red Pill podcast over on my Patreon. Also, for those that want more insider information and they want to have longer content regarding a breakdown of the market before we, in advance, kind of sneak peek information, definitely consider joining the Patreon at patreon.com/watersabove. The mastermind community gives you access to our Discord, which has so many members now working together regarding technical analysis, decoding, just general chat of what's to come in the market. It's amazing to have a community full of decoders and high vibrational beings that are working together. And the other side of things is the podcast that I release, where I'm sharing that information in advance and I'm really given the time to break everything down thoroughly. So I just wanted to get into that because I had a lot of people, wondering what happened on August 2nd? What happened on August 5th? What happened on August 8th? Well, if you listen very carefully, you know that there's really nothing crazy I'm expecting until after the end of the Shemitah, and we're not there yet. So in the meantime, it's been pretty nice to see the way this has been going regarding the numerology. So just very quickly, today is actually the 222nd day of the year. So that's the 222, and we have the 222. And we see the stock market and everything is responding very nicely to this. And you could see the Dow Jones coincidentally at 333 as we're making the video regarding the 33rd week of the year. I mean, how funny is that we're probably going to see the Dow Jones hit 33,000 points and stay that way moving into next week. I mean, it's just so incredible how this is all tied together. But the reason this is happening is actually because the DXY. And over on Trading Wolves and our Patreon membership, I was talking about how we have this long-term arc, and let me show you exactly what's going on here. So this arc has been in play as a major support, and we're having multiple back tests confirming it as a support. And once we got to around later at the end of the month of July, we started to treat it as a resistance. So not only did we break below it, we back tested a prior high, which is actually a pretty good sign. That's a normal thing. But then coming back into this prior support and then getting rejected confirms it as a resistance. And now we've had a new low in the structure, which is showing something. Okay, some people could consider this somewhat of a bull flag. You know, you have your flag. Be open-minded to this because this is the dollar chart. This is Forex, so this isn't the same as analyzing a stock or, the principles are there, but you have to be a little bit more open-minded to the difference of volatility, of course. So the overall point here is that multiple rejections, multiple weeks of rejections followed by this big red candle. So this is showing something, and ultimately this isn't really a cause for concern. And I don't say that because I'm trying to be a bull or a bear. I'm just speaking from the structural point of view. You have right here this level of about 104. So any closes below 104, and I do suspect this can actually go to a deeper correction. And then any idea of what some people might consider a bull flag would be off the card, out of the equation. And we obviously do have a bearish divergence. So we have RSI highs with the lower pricing, and then a basic lower high trend or a downtrend on RSI followed by an uptrend on price. So that's a bearish divergence, and perhaps now it's finally kicking in. But where it's back testing today is actually pretty key level because it's just the prior stop out point of this level right here on May 13th, a little bit of this fractal, some sideways before continuation of the upside. So this is technically very normal, but the one difference is the fact that you have this long-term arc support, which is very experimental. I play around with these firmament domes, not only on the upside, but I also do them below, as above, so below. And this has been a piece of technical analysis that I've kind of introduced to the community, and it's been pretty helpful for having a different perspective on how these trends can go. So with that being said, if we do actually start to break below 103.8 or just 104, that could lead to an even deeper, rally for the stock market, which in turn would be very bullish for the crypto market. And that would be in sync, in harmony with somewhat of a relief leading into the very end of the Shemitah, which we've seen before. Actually, specifically, we saw in the Shemitah of 1987, which led to the infamous Black Monday. So let's get into some of the dates because some of you want to know more about this number 33 and everything regarding this. One other thing to say about today, the 10th of August, and I brought this up in my last Red Pill podcast, is it is 47 days until the end of the Shemitah, and that's very important because we have a match of numbers. 47 is the 15th prime number, and today is also the 15 date numerology. This is all happening in the year of the tiger, and tiger is giving you 15 in Chaldean, year of the tiger in Chinese zodiac, right? So that's very crucial because we have multiple confluence points and we're seeing how the energy is kicking into the market today, okay? So that's just a little bit of help for you guys that are newer to decoding and you want to know more of my methodology and how you could isolate specific dates to have more importance than other dates. Also, this is the day that transitions into the full moon. So we have the full moon tomorrow, and the full moon is also the 223rd day. So if you guys know about Skull and Bones, you know that the Skull and Bones number is 322. Well, 223 is the mirror of that number, and in alchemy you always want to mirror everything. And what's funny about Skull and Bones is their logo is the skull and crossbones, and you could see that also equals 223 in English ordinal, and this is also the 223rd day of the year, which we have another connection as well. You see skull and crossbones equals 61 in full reduction, and we will also be in the 61 date numerology. All right. And we know of the very famous bonesman, George W. Bush, who was the president during 9/11. And that 9/11 was during a Shemitah. And tomorrow's full moon is called the Sturgeon full moon. So let me just show you this. And Sturgeon equals 119, the mirror of 9/11. Coincidence? But anyway, let's move on to the number 33. We can see that the 33rd week of the year will be kicking in next Monday on August 15th. So that's really what I wanted to get into today, next Monday, and this date actually leaves us with 1 month and 11 days until the end of the Shemitah. And speaking of 9/11 and the World Trade Center, where did that happen? That happened in New York. And we know New York has the 111. It also has the 33. So these numbers are very important. Also, we have that 42 right there as well. And that number 42, 24, it's been playing a big role this specific year. We have 42 showing up in Saturn right here. You could see that in reverse full reduction. And then we know the number 24, or the mirror of 42, is the zodiac logo of Jupiter. And Jupiter and Saturn are father and son. Okay, it's important. Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. That's how they hide it in the movies. So today, the day leaving 1 month and 11 days, the 111. Also, it'll be the mirror. That's 65. It's the mirror of 56. And that is tying us back to this connection of the first day of Rosh Hashanah. Okay, so when the Shemitah started officially, it was in this transition date, and you could see that gave us the 56 date numerology, sharing the same standard date numerology as you can see right here, 20 and 20, 20/20 vision. So this is where things get really interesting, okay? Speaking of the 9/11 and the 11/9, if you take from the following day, the day after the full moon, after the Sturgeon moon, and I just showed you Sturgeon equaling 119. Well, if you take from that day to the start of the Shemitah, Rosh Hashanah of 2021, you're getting 11 months and 9 days. And again, this is in the 33rd week of the year. And you notice that this date, August 16th, leaves 137 days in the year. So let me just quickly show you that. 137 is the 33rd prime number, the 33 happening in the 33rd week of the Gregorian year. So where this gets even more amazing is this date connected to the start of the Shemitah is 343 days. Now 343 is, let me just pull up this calculator. 343 is 7 times 7 times 7. 777 is the jackpot number. Even September 7th should actually be 7/7 because septem in Latin, the prefix is 7. So this is all about the sevens because we're in the year of the Shemitah. And 343 days, 7 times 7 times 7. Absolutely incredible how this is all tied together. A couple of smaller notes is this is also going to be a 66 date numerology, so we have a power number as well as the 21 standard date numerology. 21 is 7 plus 7 plus 7, right? And it matches the exact date numerology of the start of the Shemitah. How many connections can you possibly come up with? Even this 49 weeks, or the number 49 is 7 sevens, 7 plus 7, etc., all over till you get to 7. Square root of 7 would actually be the quickest way of saying it. This whole video adds up to the point that I believe that August 15th and August 16th are the next big dates to pay attention to. Almost similar to like the August 2nd, kind of idea. It's going to be more of a pivot point energy, okay? So keep that in mind. The 16th has so many connections here that I've just showed you, and I'm going to add even one more before we get into the technical analysis. So remember, I was talking a lot about this connection to the upcoming eclipse, okay? So the upcoming eclipse is going to be in October, And then we have a total lunar eclipse in November. And I've been bringing this up a lot more often in my work lately as we get closer to the end of the Shemitah. And you can see the November eclipse is a transition between November 7th and November 8th. Okay? And if you take from August 16th to the start of that eclipse, it is 2 months and 22 days. The 222. In the 222 year, in the Hebrew year, or that actually transitions out of that Hebrew year of 5782, which is again that 22. Lots of 22s this year, you know, even that year of the tiger starting right in that transition to February 2nd, which was the 22 date. This date is a transition into August 16th, which is the 22 date numerology, which if you go to the last day of the eclipse is still the 222. Amazing. This date is big. Okay. So mark your calendars for this transition. I like to look at everything in the rule of threes. So that would be the day of, you know, before and after the encroaching days. And I even have some more stuff to share with you guys regarding this number 3. And it's just a plain decode for everyone. So, you know, a lot of people have been introduced lately to this word simulacrum. And you could see right here that simulacrum equals 33 in Chaldean. It's the number of transmutation. Then you have simulation, which is the more standardized form of writing this word, and you see it equals 137. 137 is the 33rd prime number. Magic equals 33 in English ordinal. You know, we have the magic spelled the proper way, but this is the way the masses know it as. Magic, that is what is happening in this world. Everything that's happening exoterically is a magic trick. Politics, all the theater going on with wars and money and entertainment industry and celebrities and fame. It's magic, okay? Now, let's break into the periodic table. We have arsenic being the 33rd element on the periodic table. And if we actually just take the word arsenic and we type it into our Gematria calculator, you're going to see it equals 33, full reduction. You can't escape these 33s. And one of the things we spoke about a lot leading into the start of this year was this number 74. And that is the atomic mass of arsenic. And we're going to show you why that number is so critical. Okay? Before we get into that, devil and God equaling 33 in Chaldean, and this is a perfect transition point. Okay, the ampersand doesn't give any value, but the same, devil God together equals 33. The master magicians. All right, and tying this in to another term that we hear quite often is Jesus and Lucifer, and we have that number 74 and 33 in our minds, right? Well, Jesus equals 74 and Lucifer equals 74 in the same cipher. We're getting this off of the periodic table of elements, okay? An element equals 74. And what is an element? Anything that ends in M-E-N-T is mente or mentis, which means mind, okay? That's literally what ment means. Like, you know, where they make the coins, they call it the mint. Think about that, okay? And El, we know, is the king of the gods. So let's keep going. The Greek word for arsenic comes back to arsenicon. And if you type in arsenicon, you're going to get 137, the 33rd prime number. You can't escape this. The number 33 is the number of transmutation when the pineal body awakens. So I hope you guys enjoyed this thorough decode today, because so much information, you know, you guys could take notes on and apply this to your own work that you do. So let's get into the charts. We know the DXY is definitely looking a little bit, you know, overreactive, let's just say. And I have right here mapped out this number 43 on the RSI. We could see 43 is coming down into this level. We could even kind of consider that level right here, the back test of 40, being pretty clean as well, considering the last low. But I've been keeping it at that 43 level just to kind of, you know, map out the long-term energy of this. So let's get into the Bitcoin. Now, I have this chart. It's really interesting. This is a parallel channel. This parallel channel is in an uptrend after a drop down, which creates a bear flag. Okay. Now the bear flag has a resistance coming in to the end of this month, actually above 20, like around 27K. So we could keep that number in mind if we are to have another test of the highs. And if we were to come in even earlier, which wouldn't be as expected, but I'm gonna break this down in a little bit for you guys more thoroughly. It would still be around 26K. So all in all, it would be a new high in the trend, and there's thin air on this candle. So anything up to 26.5, it's pretty much no volume traded in that area at all. Okay. So this to here, there was really nothing filling up that zone, and that's why when we dropped from 29, we dropped in a straight line. Okay. Now, what was I meaning before when I was talking about this specific month and how it could correlate to, past cycles? Well, if you go back to the August Sturgeon full moon, which is the full moon we're about to have tomorrow, this time frame actually wasn't bearish at all. It was just a perpetual uptrend. So let me show you here, and let me turn off the drawings to make this nice and clear. And that's your full moon right there, your Sturgeon full moon. So we got the lows actually came in about 3 full days before the cycle. And it was a very tiny little back test before continuation. And we actually stayed flat until the new moon of September. So when we're analyzing these lunar cycles, it's always good to go back to prior iterations of the same month's full moon and compare. You could do the same thing with astrology, So I know we're still in Cancer and sidereal, and that would put us into the full moon of Cancer and sidereal, So if you practice a sidereal astrology, you could consider that and go back into the prior iterations of it and take notes. And that's really the combination of the technical analysis and the more esoteric practice. So you could also see a little bit of a flat line coming in. Let me see how many days before that was. It's about 10. Okay, so we got 10 to 3 days. And if we were to zoom in today and go to tomorrow, which is the actual day, and go out 10 days, we're somewhat into this corrective phase of multiple red candles to this back test on August 4th. So this is very interesting setup that we have going on because it's mimicking a lot of the energy of the recovery of July and August of 2021, which was leading into the start of the Shemitah, which happened right at that peak right there. Probably some of you remember this if you were following my work back then. So we have a crown top, big bloody drawdown. Then we have sideways and bloody and boring and low and getting all the excitement away from the market, and then out of nowhere pivot up. So we've had a very arduous downtrend. We've had many, many days now hanging out in this area, going on, let's just call it 2 straight months. And now we're starting to see, this recovery show its teeth. It's a very nice setup that we have, but let's look at some of the levels without any indicators, without anything else going on. And this level right there of about 20, let's just call it 23.8, has been a closure resistance. So it's pretty early in the morning right now as I film this video. We have a lot of time to go until the end of the day. That means be open-minded to anything could happen specifically after the stock market closes. So the stock market closing around, 5 p.m. or so Eastern Standard Time. And that gives like a 3-hour, 2.5-3-hour window for the crypto market to be trading essentially almost alone. Forex will be trading, the Dow will be trading, but you know what I mean. The bigger point of this is these levels aren't that exciting. And even getting a slightly higher close than normal is still not necessarily exciting. We're coiling up right now in this area. Ideally, we would want just a new high. And that new high is not even, again, too exciting because there's very low volume right now. We're not seeing these crazy breakouts. We're just ranging, okay? So let's consider the range. Now, on the lows, we want to be looking at 21,000, essentially probably 21,300 if you wanted to be a little bit more conservative. And also the short-term very micro low would be 22.6, so right at that level right there. You can see actually today, very earlier today, we had a wick down to essentially test that area and then very dramatic buyback off of that. So that's, of course, because the DXY is getting hammered. There's clearly money entering the stock market. That means the crypto market's going to behave accordingly. But I want you to look at what's going on with Bitcoin. It's actually kind of sideways and up. But if you look at the Dow, you're going to see a different story. It's just boom, up. Okay, so pay attention to this. This is why I'm saying crypto is a different game right now comparatively to other things. It will take money entering the crypto market. There's very little money entering the crypto market right now. Okay. So we're seeing this reaction into the stock market, but it's not necessarily mimicking in as dramatic of a fashion as it is in something like Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum, it's looking pretty solid, but we'll get to that in one moment. So I just wanted to share with you guys, we have our daily support lows coming in around 21,200. And then we have our resistance around 23,800. You can mark off those levels. And now to get a little bit more fancy, I'm just going to bring up these EMAs. I'm going to turn off these drawings and we're going to show you something. So you see this red moving average right there? That's the 34 exponential moving average. Any daily close below that, and I expect us to backtest the 21.2 level. Okay. Now, you guys might be aware of how the full moon and the new moon work. It's a window of time, and that window could be up to 5 days after. Okay. So that brings us to around August 16th. Now, as we trade above the 34 EMA, it will continue to slope to the upside. And what this means is by the 16th or 15th of August, which remember, I shared that date with you guys, the 15th and the 16th. So keep that in mind. This 34 EMA can naturally move up. So Bitcoin could come back down to that area at that time or into the 14th, like the day before, back test the 34 EMA, bounce, and then continue up into the new moon at the end of this month. So that gives you like a technical play. And again, I'm not expecting crazy dramatic moves right now. That's just not in the cards for me. I mean, to the upside, we'll get to that later in the month. But regarding downside, I think we're going to continue this uptrend of basically higher lows. Okay. So that's, the short-term TA on that. And I'll be covering this very thoroughly in my next Red Pill podcast over on Patreon this Sunday. So Ethereum is looking really good. And one of the things that you can tell is different is these EMAs are spread out now. We have the 13 above the 21 above the 34. So it's in bullish posture. That's very good to see. We also have here, we've included the simple moving average of the 8 and the 55. We had a wolf cross back there, and ever since we've just been on this nice rally up. One of the things we have is these 200 moving averages. So that means the 200 exponential and the 200 simple. And you guys have been hearing me say now for 2 months, probably 2 full months, that I do think we're gonna see a $2,000 to $2,200 Ethereum one more time before this rolls over. I expect it to hit 2,000 to 2,200 first before I expect it to break 1,000 again. Okay, that's just kind of my sentiment regarding where I stand on technical analysis and prior cycles and how I'm analyzing this thing. Again, that's not even that bullish. That's just slightly, for ETH, that's another 20% move, and it's not anything dramatic. I mean, dramatic would be a break of 3,600. Until then, that slight move is nothing to call home about. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of a level that I'm personally looking out for. So in the meantime, just follow Bitcoin. If Bitcoin decides to come back and break that 34 EMA on the daily, I do suspect a retest of the 34 EMA for Ethereum. That would be somewhere around 1,550. XRP, boring as ever, continuing sideways, really nothing much to follow here, but what I could say is a similar thing to what I shared on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin comes down to that 21,000 area, I do suspect one more test of the 55 simple moving average for XRP. That would be around 34-35 cents by the time that time comes to fruition. And again, just another higher low. So that's bullish. We have our low, higher low, currently a higher low. We have our high, higher high, higher high. So again, this is just showing us a reversal or a bottoming structure. I mean, with XRP, this is really more a bottoming structure because you can see how much time it's been stuck in this area, going on 3 full months now. Okay. So as an altcoin, this is definitely showing that once Bitcoin gets back its dominance and certain sectors kind of become a little bit more boring, the money just stabilizes. I think that's a good word to use. The market is becoming more stable regarding crypto, and we're watching shit coins kind of like slowly just become out of people's radar. So I'm going to leave it at that. Regarding upside for XRP, it's probably 40 cents, and I'm suspecting that 40 to 41 is somewhat of a psychological resistance level. I mean, regarding 41, we know why that number matters so much, because XRP giving us that 14, again, everything mirrored. The number 14 and 15 are very, very important for XRP. And we know we're in the year of the tiger, which we have that 15 in XRP. We have tiger right there, and anything that's been connecting to the tiger or Jupiter has actually been not doing so well this year. So that's just one thing to say. We have that 22. We're in the Hebrew year of the 5782. Again, those 22s. I suspect when we get into Jubilee year, the year of the Jubilee, which starts on September 27th, right here, that is probably when we're going to see energy change regarding what is to stay and what is to go, meaning what cryptos are going to make it through these next eclipses and where does that money go? I believe it's going to go into the more use case, actual fundamental coins, XRP, of course, being one of those. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Again, if you guys would like, you could go check out the sample video I released on my expansion mastermind. It's for all levels. It's a digital coaching course, a digital mentoring course. It's basically your way of almost working directly with me, because this is all the strategy that I give for all of my clients. I'm just giving it out into a course. I'm really excited to share this with the world. Go check out that sample video. And if you like, you could subscribe to my website. Little subscription box here. It's free. Just got to put in an email, and that way you can stay updated on anything that comes out. So I appreciate all of your support. Wishing you all a beautiful rest of your day. Enjoy that 33rd week of the year coming up soon. Much love.